this and see how it goes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 139th episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am the overly thrilled, epically pleased Travis Snell.
And Mark Castor, Dylan.
I'm the Master Builder, Taylor Field.
Master Builder. All the fucking news we have, you want to do Lego? Anyways.
That's a good name, though. Like, that's a good name.
And I bet he's used it like a bunch of times. But anyways.
No. Have you used it before?
No, I haven't. I don't think so.
Oh.
Let's get down to the nitty gritty. We're going to talk about all news that's happened today at Comic-Con. But most importantly, we're going to start with the DC Warner Brothers panel. We're going to start off hot. We did a trailer reaction, which will be coming on a little bit later. But they dropped... Give me more of your guys' thoughts. Like I said, you guys did a little bit of thoughts. So maybe give me your... that was the teaser. Give me your full thoughts. Taylor, start with you. What did you think of the Justice League trailer?
You know, I mean, like I said in that reaction video, I felt like it was very much like introduced with Wonder Woman. It carried off, kind of focusing on her a little bit too much. But at the end of the day, you know, I did enjoy the trailer. Not as much as the first one that came out. I like the I don't know what you call it, like the score or the theme or whatever they had in the background. Mm-hmm. I thought it was really cool. It was very fitting with all the scenes and everything. It was very quippy, like a few jokes that, I mean, didn't really need to see, but I mean, I'll take that over like parts of the story or a lot of the action scenes that I want saved in the film, I guess. But overall, you know, wasn't too bad. Got to see more of the heroes, so that's always good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll agree with you that it seems very, like, you said Wonder Woman 2.0 when we did the trailer reaction. I think that's a good way to describe it. And it makes sense because Wonder Woman is their most recent movie, so that helps. Mm-hmm. And then it also was, well, I don't think it, like, financially didn't make the most money, but it was the most, like...
It did now, out of DC, yeah.
Really? It did more than BVS?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
It
has that, and it was...
Yeah.
The most well-received, like, I guess you could say least controversial out of the other ones, so...
And as far as, like, how it would drop, like, second week, third week, it's had the best hold in the past 25 years for a comic book film. So, like, this movie is making a lot of money. Yeah,
I knew it was doing well. I didn't think it was doing quite that well. So, yeah, it makes sense that, like, whether or not the movie of Justice League is, you know, super Wonder Woman heavy, it makes sense that they would at least demonstrate this in the trailer because... a lot of people will attach to that, whereas The Flash, like, we don't really know the character yet, or at least, like, people who aren't comic book fans, I don't really know much about the character himself, so, yeah, I guess just going through the characters, like, I didn't really like the way The Flash was used in here. He just kind of was quippy, and I didn't really find it funny, so it's kind of like the Marvel approach, I guess, like, some characters just kind of do that, especially in these team-up movies. So we'll see in the movie whether or not I like that, but as the trailer, wasn't a huge fan. Cyborg seems incredibly bland, and maybe that's how the character is, but he doesn't even look that cool. So I feel like if he looked really cool and he was just kind of boring, but he just is super badass, then I'd be fine with it. But right now, it's like, if that was all they had to show for the character, like, maybe they're holding back something good, but I'm not too hopeful that will be, you know, one of their better characters.
Yeah.
Batman... He's pretty good. I don't know. He was pretty, like, in the middle for me in this trailer. I thought like that one scene you pointed out, Travis, where he's like kind of falling from the sky.
Yeah, there's like
that
some
red
cool
background.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, that looks cool. Like there, I guess there's like a part where they go to like into like a hellish sort of.
Yeah. Or hell's come to.
Yeah, hell has come. Rather, that's a better way to put it.
It's like how I describe when Taylor arrives at Dylan's place. Like, oh, hell's come.
Exactly. The red skies just come over us. And then I'm missing a character, Aquaman. Mm-hmm. He was pretty badass in this trailer.
The hair flip. Yeah, that's gonna be one of the most popular gifts this month, guaranteed. That's gonna be all over the webs.
So I thought this trailer was. I thought it was a good trailer. Definitely, the story seems like it's gonna be, you know, pretty simple. There's a bad guy. He's got some alien buddies, and they're gonna fight them, and they're gonna win, and no one's gonna die.
The bad guys are gonna win.
No, like, the good guy.
Wow.
And then. Obviously, there's a reveal that's likely Superman, I would say, and then I don't know if Green Lantern's going to be in this movie. Like, I don't know if they're holding back or if he is. Maybe they're going to introduce him in like a quick post-credit scene. Actually, I guess DC doesn't really do that, but
they've done one before though. They did one with Squad,
so they could.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they had that nod like no lanterns, and then there was that.
They did say no lanterns in the trailer.
They did say that.
And you said like there was that one.
There was a poster of him on it with the rest. Yeah, Jason Momoa.
And maybe that ending scene is just to throw us off. Like maybe that suit isn't actually red in the movie, but they just do that. That would be sick. I would actually be so happy if they did that, because
if it was what?
If like that guy, like instead of Superman that was walking up to him, it was actually Green Lantern, and they just like put the color differently in the trailer to fuck with us, because their trailers, like obviously we talked about the BVS one, how it kind of gave away the entire movie. So yeah, I thought this trailer was decent. I relative to the first one, I'm gonna say it's actually like right on the same pace. Like I think they're pretty damn similar. But yeah, overall it was pretty good.
Yeah. I'll preference this with maybe I'll have to talk again when I'm not on the hype train right now, because DC had a really great day. So I'm just really overall excited about DC. I'll say these things to be devil advocate. I'll agree with them and say I actually like the first trailer better. I think it's a lot more snappier, a lot more quick. This is a 4-minute trailer,
yeah,
so it's a little hard to do. I get what they're doing, especially if this is the last one, then I'm fine with it being. My problem will be if we get one more trailer after this. It's like, we don't need any more. I think everyone that's going to go see Justice League is going to go see it. I think Wonder Woman helped a lot with the hype. People are liking that. So the positives for me is, one, we talked about, yes, with the BVS trailer. They do show a lot in this trailer. The biggest thing is, it's not like BVS. It's not like Spider-Man Homecoming. I can't place, other than I think the movie will maybe start around with the Themyscira, and then that's where the incident begins, the inciting incident of Steppenwolf crashing down, and maybe that's how she returns home. Other than that, the rest of the stuff looked like it was all thrown together, which I wanted in a trailer. It looked like a lot of cool stuff, which, again, I think this movie, like Wonder Woman, it looks beautiful. Like, the action shots, like I said, that shot of Batman, that shot of Aquaman when he's on that guy and they're just falling through buildings. Like, DC movies...
Don't forget the hair flip, Travis.
The hair flip, yeah, but DC movies just, like... Even the way Flash is moving, that one point where he touches the glass and the glass, like, slowly breaks and it morphs, like, they are shot so beautifully, and that's why they have such an advantage. Even if the movie, like BVS, is kind of mediocre, the shots of characters, like Batman on that gargoyle, like, they can highlight heroes so good. But that's my biggest point is, I like that there's a bunch of stuff in this trailer, but that's where, like, I'll counter you, Taylor. I don't feel that they did show too much, because we don't know... I think other than the inciting incident, we don't know the order of stuff. That scene of Superman, that could be in the middle, that could be near the end. The stuff of them getting together, that could be more... Because it seems like at the beginning of the movie, they might not be getting along, or they kind of form... Like, we don't know when they'll form. Maybe they're friends right away. Maybe it takes a while. So that's what I mean. Like, I see this trailer, and there's a lot for me to assume, and that's what I like when... BVS did kind of spoil. We knew going in, beat to beat. This, I feel like we don't know. We know, okay, they're going to team up, they're going to win, and Superman will come back, but I like that we don't know when it's happened. They didn't show, the Wonder Woman Themyscira stuff, and then they showed them teaming up, and then they showed Superman, like, in the end, then they showed Superman fighting with them. I liked the way they showed if it is Superman, which I think it would be, unless Alfred and Batman know Green Lantern previously. I think will be Superman, because he's like, oh, good, you showed up, something like that. So, I like...
And that could even be like in the middle of the movie too. Superman joining the team.
Yeah,
it's good. It's easy enough for them to pick out fight scenes or even edit some for the trailer. Just those similar fight scenes, but without showing any Superman in the background or anything.
Yeah, like, I won't spoil it, but like the last third act of Wonder Woman, they didn't show any of that in the trailer. It's like we didn't see the villain, we didn't see the big final battle, and that's the thing. I think the case here, you're seeing a lot of the final battle in times, but you don't know. That Red Sky thing, is that the final battle, or is that the moment where maybe Superman comes in and saves him? And that's why I like that. I feel like we can go in this movie and not know from point A to point B how we're going to get there. I think it showcased everyone pretty well. Cyborg to me is still, I'm not a Cyborg fan, and it just seems like he's just there.
Do you like him from the comics?
No. I don't dislike him. He's just a character that's just fine. Yeah. I've never loved him. I like him in different other comic books that in a part of a team, but not with Justice League, and like you said, off-cast, or maybe during a reaction of like, okay, he can hack stuff, that's cool. I like the quip that Alfred's just like, do I know you? Like, the quips for me were, I'd say, like a 70-30, and it's funny because some of the Flash ones I liked and some of them I didn't. So, but back to Cyborg, I think they really need to do a good job in this movie to make us care about him, because the trailer so far, man, he looked a little better, I'll say that. Like, for me, it looked like CGI is a bit more touched, so that's good, because I remember when we first saw him, it was like, oof, this looks really bad. So, I think that, as you can see, as production goes on, Wonder Woman, you guys already talked about. That's the reason she is starting the trailer. That's the reason I don't think in the movie she'll she will be in it a lot, but I don't think it'll be like Wonder Woman and Friends. I think this trailer is Wonder Woman and Friends just because they're coming off her movie. Everyone's in love with her. It reviewed very well, so I think it's smart to put her out there. Batman looked good. I like the hook of where's Batman, like he's not showing up, so obviously maybe it shows that he's... Because part of they've said in this movie is about Batman having a redemption, and it's about him maybe there's going to be scenes where he talks about that he went too far in BVS, so I kind of like that maybe after BVS he's a little classic Batman. He's a little depressed, and he's like, oh, should I, or maybe he's just putting together a team. I like that. Aquaman just looks like a badass. I think he'll have a little character depth, but I think he's going to be the Hulk of this team. He's going to be all the cool action scenes, all the... Like that moment when he's just like, I'm pretty sure we're all going to die. Like, I liked that. Like, I liked most of Quip's Flash. I really liked... My only worry, I said this last year with the first Comic-Con trailer, my worry is he's just going to be nothing but quips. And that's my big concern, because you can quip, but you got to have some emotional moments, and Barry Allen has a lot of those. At one moment in the trailer, he's like, oh, I've never been in a battle. I've never done this. I thought we were getting a moment with him like, oh, because he's the kid of the team, right? So I thought they were going to play up that, oh, he's scared because he's, in his mid-20s, maybe something like this, and the rest of them are all like 30s, 40s. And then he's like, I've just gone around pushing people. I thought it was all right, but that's my worry that if everything he says is a joke, I won't like that. I'm fine with, even if he's 80-20, but I need 20% of some emotion.
If we go back to the MCU side of things, in Civil War, there is a couple characters who really only, their only moments are these quipping characters, like Ant-Man, for example, but he also had a whole movie beforehand.
And we got to see him with his daughter and stuff like that. That's my thing. If we had seen the Flash movie before, we knew, oh yeah, he's a fleshed out character. My worry is just in this movie, he'll be a quipper, and I'm trying to think of, Marvel, who would, Vision, all the people they've seemed to introduce... through the Avengers movies and went off to do other stuff were people that didn't quip, like a Vision, like a Black Panther, like Ant-Man, like Star-Lord that's coming. I don't know, I guess Spider-Man. Spider-Man, I'd say they introduced was quippy, but even then, you got to see those emotional things of him talking with Tony Stark of, hey, I'm doing this for the little guys, I don't want Ant-Man to know. So that's all I need. I just need a scene or two of Flash showing that he's a regular person and just not a joke box, so...
Joke box.
Well, joke box Flash. So yeah, I really liked it.
What if instead of mother boxes, they're joke boxes that they're trying to defend from the evil guys?
I don't think the fans are going to like that.
I actually would. That'd be something different. That'd be cool.
Do you feel like with the change of the director for this movie, do you feel like that's kind of affected the trailer?
Well, it's not necessarily a change. Zack Snyder will still get credit for it, but Joss Whedon is doing the reshoots and whatnot. I think 100% it'll change some of the tone. I think the tone was going to change no matter what, but I think it does change the tone with Joss Whedon. You look at Avengers and... if you don't like quippiness, I think you're maybe not going to like some parts of this movie. But I think there's a place in it in, all comic book movies. I think...
Well, if you do these team-up movies, there's just not enough time, unless you want to do a 4-hour movie, to give every character, a ton of depth. So, in that sense, it's fine if a character or a couple characters kind of are suited to that role. And... Because, you have multiple movies. You have a universe, so you have time at some other point to... give them some backstory and give them some emotional depth as well.
Yeah. And I liked they didn't show the face of the villain, which I kind of like.
Yeah, that was... Yeah, I like that part of it.
So, I think for me, and I can see where you guys are coming from, I guess for me, it's not like a greatest trailer of all time. It got me really excited, but I think it's just more... I was worried about more stuff like a Superman, plot points. And I think that's maybe why I liked it more, because I was like, oof, they've had such a bad... history with trailers, and this was another trailer this is good.
Well, I liked the trailer. I think my initial thought was, well, this is very Wonder Woman-esque, but upon thinking about it, it makes sense for them to do that as a marketing thing, and I don't necessarily think that's going to be what the movie is.
Yeah, because people said in the Hall H panel that when they showed they showed all the clips of the DC movies, she got the biggest reaction when they showed Wonder Woman clips from just a sizzle reel. So the world is right now in love with her. So I think it's and even then with these reshoots, they could add more scenes in there. And like I said, it makes smart. I said this off cast, they do the same with Downey. Look at Spider-Man Homecoming. Oh, Spider-Man, are people going to be tired about this? Let's throw in Iron Man. Civil War, Iron Man. So it's I think she's going to be their Iron Man in a way. So...
And I mean, even... I guess I don't really need to say this, but even Iron Man in Spider-Man, he's not in it a whole lot even. But they can just use him in the trailers to... get in people, because they're running a business at the end of the day. So.
Oh, yeah, they that's what it comes down to. Taylor, you have anything before we move on?
No.
Yeah.
Covers it.
Okay, so yeah, for the YouTube watchers, our initial trailer reaction up, so you can see our nice beautiful faces watch that. So it'll be up in.
We didn't talk about it a ton. It was probably like what 10-minute video or something.
Yeah,
like that.
So. This is that was the appetizer. This was the entree.
And dessert. That's coming later tonight, folks.
Oh yeah, we hope. Better Infinity War trailer. Great day. Let's get into this. My God, I'm so fucking excited. So, and to give Dylan some credit here, I'm not gonna say that I called it. Last year after Suicide Squad, me and Kyle, Liam, and Keegan, a friend of mine, we talked about the state of superhero films. And after Suicide Squad came out on BBS, we were like, man, they should really just Flashpoint it, you know? And me, Dylan, and Kyle talked about this with when Ben Affleck dropped out as director. We actually did, that was the title of Is DC Setting Up for a Flashpoint? Because they did, Ben Affleck dropped out director, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we're doing day one rewrites of Flash. Like, they just said we're starting over on Flash. And I had said this, and yeah, this is not a hashtag Travis told you moment, because this was something I had said, hey, they should do this. I want them to do this. I didn't think they would do this, because this is a huge, huge moment, and this is something that shows that, you know what, it's okay to admit you've made some mistakes. And that's what I feel like this is. They didn't say that in the fucking panel, but like, when Days of Future Past came out, X-Men 3 had come out, and X-Men Origins, two of the worst X-Men movies, and it was starting to kill the franchise. X-Men Days of Future Past came out. It was a great movie alone, but then it also laid the groundwork for kind of fixing little things in the universe. It didn't do a big, like, overall the universe, but it fixed little things that it did. Yeah. And so if you're watching this and you don't know, Flashpoint was confirmed today. The Flash movie is now Flashpoint, and this is a movie for people that don't know our comic book series. What happens if Flash's mother was killed when he was a child? He decides when he's older to go back and past and save her. He saves her. Universe is good for a while, but everything has changed. So things like, it's a minor spoiler, but you're going to hear about it. Things like Batman's parents getting killed. That didn't happen anymore. It was Bruce Wayne getting shot, and his dad went to become Alfred. So Bruce Wayne got shot, and then his dad went to become Batman, and his mom became the Joker. And you look at right now who they cast as Batman. I did this as Batman's dad was Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He's a huge actor. He's Negan on Walking Dead, and his mother is Laura Cohen, Maggie on Walking Dead. So it's like these talented actors, and there's other things like Aquaman and Wonder Woman had this unspoken love affair that ended up causing both their people to have wars with each other, and Flash was not known by people. It's this really universe fucking up fun adventure thing. So not only if they just adapted, is it a good story of, hey, he's messed up a lot of stuff, he has to put it back together. This sets up anything, and Ben Affleck is apparently staying as Batman, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But even then, let's say something in a year happens and that goes away again. This you can use if, and let's say this comes out 2020, they kind of have 3 years from now to be like, hey, if we want to change anything from now until then, this is the time to do it. Because that's the only way it will make sense with time warps and time jumps and time fuckery. So before, we said, we were talking about Ben Affleck yesterday, Dylan and I, about Ben Affleck recasting. This is the time. And that's what this movie presents. And I feel like, I don't think we're going to get a big overall haul of, honestly, I would love it. I don't think Jared Leto will get recast as a Joker, but if they want to, this is the time. And this is what I feel like little things like that will happen, where they could change little stuff in the past, or they could just leave it all and just tell the great story that is Flash messing up universes and he fixes everything. But this becoming a reality is huge, and this is, unless in the Infinity War trailer drops, this is they've won Comic-Con, because this is a pipe dream. This is something I did not think would happen at least for years from now. But we're going to get a superhero movie where we're traveling back in time. We're going to get arguably our first Batman movie when Bruce Wayne's not Batman. You know, it's going to be his dad, and that's a great way of using Batman, but it doesn't have to be Ben Affleck, right? He doesn't have to do this. He won't be busy. He'll be Jeffrey Dean Morgan if they do that. Who knows? They could loosely adapt it, but we'll see. But I think it's huge. What do you guys think about this? Because obviously you've just heard about this for years. Me and Kyle have talked about this at nauseum, and you and I talked about it a lot yesterday, Dylan. What do you think now? We always talk about what if they confirmed it?
I obviously don't have the comic book perspective. I've never read the storyline, but
you guys should watch the animated movie. I think it might be on Netflix. If it is, really? You should watch. It's actually really, really well done.
I'd love to check that out. Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity to, fill in the holes. I think they could go back and maybe just give some characters some more backstory. Even I don't really know what the storyline will be for this movie. Obviously, they can go in a lot of different directions, and if you only have one movie to do it. You can only do so much.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was just saying to Taylor before we were casting, actually, like, what if they go back and, you know, this might not happen, but if they go back, they could give, like, Lex Luthor some more backstory or something. They could, like, amplify some of the characters and storylines that maybe fell flat in the movies that they have already done. Or they could just, like, use this to go forward with, you know, a new vision.
Yeah. Or it's just a good, or they just leave stuff alone and it's just a cool, like, even if we take out that of, like, oh, they don't change anything, I think it's a cool story of Flash saving his mom and he messes everything up and has to fix it together.
Honestly, at the end of the day, if it's just for that movie alone and it doesn't actually affect this other stuff, but it's just a really damn good movie and a really interesting, unique story, then, hell, I'm not going to complain with that either.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I like I said, I don't have the comic book perspective, but I think they could use that for like many different purposes, I guess. So that excites me.
Taylor Field.
I'm kind of with Dylan. Like, I don't understand like the whole kind of comic like book like aspect behind it or whatever. Like, I didn't know what it was until like you explained it briefly in the group chat. But I don't know.
I just said, "Oh my fucking god, they're doing it!" And Jessica's like, "What? What are they doing?"
I think that it's cool. Like, if for Flash's movie, I think it's very cool. Like him going back in time, a cool idea, and just I think it would be neat to see how that plays out, a different universe and everything from what we're already like, what we know of. But I feel like it has some benefits, but I don't understand like if you make a few bad movies, then you can learn from that. But why set up yourself ahead of like with this movie so that you can cover up like future mistakes you could make? I feel like that's what it's doing. I don't understand that really why they should do that. I feel like they should learn from the movies they've made and just make better movies and not say we're gonna do this Flashpoint just to fix all of our future mistakes.
Because comic book fans are bitchy and they want to please them, and that's the same way. Look at Days of Future Past. After that movie happened, everyone's like, the X-Men are fucking awesome. We love the X-Men. Like, we can't wait. We love that movie. So that's why I feel like it's like. It is, they don't want that reputation anymore. And I don't think it's going to be a thing where they even go in, like, the Days of Future Past completely retcon, like, X-Men 1 to 3 don't exist anymore in that timeline. I don't think it will go that far, but I think it could change certain events. Like, it could maybe make Batman not as violent, or Superman will be maybe a bit more hopeful, or like Dylan said, something more in Lex Luthor. Or, hey, they come back and Lex Luthor's played by Bryan Cranston now, you know? Like, they can do little stuff of, hey, let's say I wanted my contract, and that's what I mean. It could be something out of their hands. Of let's say Jared Leto was like, hey, I wasn't a fan of the Joker. I really don't want to do it. So they would have to recast anyways, right? So why not maybe find a story way to kind of change it instead of just being like, oh, you know, like Ryan Gosling's the Joker now. Like, let's just ignore this. Where this, you can kind of be like, oh, well, Flash messed some stuff up.
Well,
so
I think one thing that you're bringing up, Taylor, is that what if like the introduction of this as a movie means that they'll do it again in the future?
Yes!
And they can kind of just like do it every 2 years to fix the mistakes they made in that time. And so that's why I hope that, like you're saying, it comes out, like, do they have a time?
They don't.
Because they're redoing it all, so it could take a while. But, you know, I think it would be best off if they do that movie and it comes out in a couple of years or whatever it is, and then they kind of fill in the holes that they wanted to from the stuff they've made, and then from that point forward, like, I hope they don't just keep doing that, because that will just be so obvious and, like, really lazy, like, oh, we don't care, we're not thinking ahead, we're just going to make these fucking movies, and if you guys don't like it, we'll just retcon it later, like. So I think that's kind of more where you're coming from, that they might keep doing it in the future, and that's not a great way to fix solutions, because, you know, you got to make the good movies first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if they would do, because at the end, the moral of the story is kind of, if it's done right, it should be Flash being, I'm never going to do that again because of what happened. Right. So I think that's where you could be safe. And I think time travel, because Flash can time travel, will always be a factor in these DC movies, but I don't think it's going to, like that, always be like a reboot, because I feel like they have a path of where they're going now. I think this is just to maybe clean up some stuff, and even if it's not, I think it's something that a lot of people like myself have always wanted, and I think it's something that they're trying to keep the ball rolling, right? And you look at Infinity War, that is a huge movie for Avengers and Marvel and Disney. So after Justice League's out this year, I think maybe they could be looking at this as their Infinity War, building towards that. Because with Flash, like, Wonder Woman's in this, Batman's in this, Aquaman, so it's like another huge team up. It's not just it's Flash and there's a couple cameos. Like, they play major roles, so they could actually maybe be using this as their big film after Justice League. Because, like, yeah, you got Justice League 2, but now crossovers are enough. Like, look at Infinity War and Civil War. It's like, oh, you got the Avengers, but now what's bigger than the Avengers? Oh, Civil War. Oh, what's bigger than Civil War? I think that could be this. you have a good reason to worry, but I think they're going to use it more for just a one-time event and maybe to clean some stuff up, as opposed to like Flashpoint 2 2020 and like, oh, you guys didn't like this movie? Here we go.
That would not be good.
If they keep it contained to one film, then I'm okay with that. If it makes a great story and everything, then sure. But I mean, as long as they don't use it and abuse it in the sense where they just are trying to fix the errors that they've made when they don't need to do that. They made Wonder Woman, which was a great film. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at Marvel. Marvel's pumping out great films, and they don't have to pump out a movie where they have to
Yeah, but you're talking about one film out of 4, which all 4 of those films were not well reviewed. Man of Steel being the best at 55% on
But it shows that they actually did it, and they didn't change history or change up their backstory that they created. They created the universe, and it was starting to drag a little bit, but then they created Wonder Woman, and it turned out good. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. So that means that they can look at that and they can learn. They can keep progressing and not make up like a cheap plot or ploy to get out of what their trend. That's just what I'm worried about.
Greg, who's in our live chat right now, Patreon supporter, thank you for that. He brought up that Star Trek did the exact same thing. So I'll give you this then. X-Men did that to their first 2 films, and they were in a much better bed than DC. Both those 2 X-Men movies are reviewed very well, successful. X2 is considered one of the best, and they, without a shadow of a doubt, just shot in the head like that doesn't exist anymore. So I think if Fox is willing to do that with movies that were like reviewed well, I think DC's willing to do that with movies that got Razzie nominations. You know, that's the thing. Like, if they're more on the like, and when you're sitting at movies with 26 to 25% on Rotten Tomatoes, it's not like a mixed movie. Man of Steel was a mixed movie. BVS and Squad are really disliked or loved by some people, but like you look at just from a critical standpoint, 26 and 25 on critics' standpoint, that's like some of the worst comic book movies ever. I think one of them is, but I think there's that kind of maybe a little baggage of they want to go in a new route, and this is kind of maybe a stamp to say, hey, this is who we are now. We're a bit more bright and shiny. We're a bit more fun. We're a bit more of the quips and stuff, and maybe Flashpoint is that full-on stamp of that, because Justice League won't be that, right? Because Zack Snyder's still at a hand in directing lots of the movies, so I think they're still in that. If Man of Steel to Suicide Squad was the beginning, this is like the transitional period, and maybe Flashpoint will be kind of the end goal of like, this is what we want DC movies to be, you know, and maybe like their Avengers, like this is what they are. So, and
that could be like the end of like a phase 1, you could say.
Exactly, yeah. So it's exciting. It's just exciting that they're doing it, because I think that's a ballsy movie even to do. Is just time travel superhero movie. Yeah. So, do we have anything else to add on Flashpoint?
No, I don't think so.
No, this is mine now. I hope Ezra Miller kills in Justice League, and I think he will. Like I said, I just want some emotion from him, but after Infinity War...
You more hyped for Doctor Doom or
Flashpoint all the way. I love Doctor Doom, but Flashpoint...
I'll ask you that question again in 2 weeks and see what you say.
Yeah, Flashpoint is just, from a comic book standpoint, in my top 10 is like favorite arcs. Like, it is... It's really fun, and I love time travel, and I just love stuff like, oh, Batman's dad is Batman now, you know? Like, I just love it. Like, it's a fun way to play with it, so... And that Batman is, like, he has a red Batman suit, and he has guns, like, it's completely different.
It's fanfic brought to life.
It is, and I love some good fanfic, so...
Yeah, you do.
So, I'm going to read this quote. Me and Dylan talked a lot about Ben Affleck yesterday. Hollywood Reporter put out this report yesterday that Ben Affleck did not bet on him, that it looked like they were going to usher him out. Here's the exact quote that Ben Affleck said on the panel today. As to the rumors and the role of Batman, this is the best fucking part in any universe. DC, Marvel, I'm so thrilled to... I know there's a misconception that because I wasn't directing it, that maybe I wasn't enthusiastic about it, but it's fucking amazing. With Matt Reeves, War of the Planet Apes director, doing it, it's like I would be a fucking ape on the ground for Matt Reeves. Never mind being Batman. So I'm really blown away and really excited. And then he introduced the Justice League footage. So, what do we think about this? He debunked the rumors. There's a lot of... You and me talked a lot about this.
We talked about this yesterday.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that. I personally didn't think they were even going to mention this.
Right.
I'm going to go first to make a point, because I made this point to myself yesterday. I said the same thing. Ben Affleck said at one point, I'm for sure directing Batman. It's for sure happening. And then 2 weeks later, I looked at the exact time. 2 weeks later, he dropped out. So, again... You can get excited about this, but have a little, an asterisk by it. The reason I'm taking him more at face value, as when I was talking about this with Dylan yesterday, and you can check the cast, I said they're either going to ignore it or he's going to be like, yeah, I'm Batman and it's cool and I'm looking forward to it. the way, to me, and I watched the clip, it's online, you can watch it, he sounded very passionate about it, and it sounded like, when he starts the paragraph off, to be clear, it felt like he was trying to be like, enough is enough, I'm doing this, and him even shouting at the director, saying, like, him saying, I'd be a fucking ape on the ground, like, that to me is showing that, like, he seems like he's excited about what Matt Reeves might be doing, so...
Yeah, it didn't seem like a rehearsed thing.
Yeah.
Like, that the studio, like, wanted him to say or something.
Yeah.
It seemed like... almost like a spur of the moment.
Yeah. And we could get excited about this, and then in 2 months it could be like, oh, Ben Affleck's done, and Flashpoint, that's why it's happening. But to me, it's a thing of, you can choose, like I said, I'm going to choose to get excited, have an asterisk by it, because that happens all the time in Hollywood. People say, oh, for sure this isn't happening. He said the same thing. For sure I'm going to direct it. Didn't happen. He's saying it again, so, you know, if it happens again, it's, you know, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So if I buy into it, it's completely my fault. But that's what I'm telling people out there. It's your fault if you buy into this like myself. But I think it was just so passionate that I'm buying into it. And and especially if Justice League ends up being good.
I feel like that's I mean, obviously him as a source is more official than the rumor we had that he would that he was leaving in the first place. So, I mean... maybe
he saw War for the Planet of the Apes. He's like, oh, now I'm in.
Maybe
he was like iffy, and then he's like,
maybe he's just doing this to get in good graces so that he can be in the next Planet of the Apes movie.
He wants to be an ape, really.
He wants to be the villain of that movie.
Yeah. So, Dylan, you have any more to add on that?
Well, as for Ben Affleck as Batman, in BBS, like I thought he was, you know, all right, pretty good. But I think he has potential to be great at some point. So,
and can I interrupt? How do you feel about a combo of him and Matt Reeves after, because I've still not seen War for Planet of the Apes. How do you feel about him directing a Batman movie after you've seen War for
quick
Planet
question, did Matt Reeves do the other Planet of the Apes?
He just did Dawn. The first one he didn't. He took over for the second, and then he did the third.
Okay, well, I really like both those movies. Has he done anything else I would have seen?
He did a horror remake called Let Me In, and I think that's about it. And it's pretty good, too. Like, he's not done too many movies.
Well, I mean, from what I have seen, I think it's, I would say unique. You know, definitely different, and like musically, like just it's a really like full on experience, right? Like it's not, you know, just one aspect of the movie. It's kind of like all of it brought together into like a really cohesive kind of creative work. So I think if, you know, take that with Batman, and, you know, Ben Affleck was probably going to have a lot of input as well in like creating the story and the character and developing it. So,
and he's Academy Award winner, so it's not like
he's
where it's like, oh, should we listen to Ben? Like,
he's not some no name guy. So I think, you know, together they could really make a great movie.
Well, because you talked about this yesterday, you brought up the point of like after Nolan, you really have to knock it out of the park, and I have yet to see War.
And another thing, you have to do something different as well.
Yeah. And I've yet to see War. I plan on it next week. But for me, Dawn, that year it came out, I think that was my film of the year. And I just watched it again. I love Dawn for the Planet of the Apes. It's so good. And all I hear about from you guys and critics about for War of the Planet of the Apes, that just gets me even more excited to see him do a Batman movie. Like, even the words you use, like wimmersive, and like the way he uses music and the way everything is like an experience. That's what I want to hear about for a Batman movie as well. I want to hear those same things. Like we were joking about yesterday with Dark Knight Rises versus War for the Planet of the Apes, the score, but like there's a reason that everyone even talks about like the score in Batman, like the Nolan ones, because it's so iconic and it matches with those films, and that's what you want in this. So this just gets me even more excited. Like I said, it's an asterisk. Taylor, what do you feel? Because you weren't on the cast yesterday when some of this news broke. That it was dire. I was very sad for a couple hours. We were throwing out fan casts, which I don't like, but you know it happened.
You know, I feel like when these kind of rumors just kind of drop, I mean, they should be addressed really quickly, because I mean, it takes so much. It causes so much stress and grief on people. I feel like people that start binge eating or drinking. I don't know, but I mean, I think it affects.
You gotta be careful though, man. People take your words and they spin them and twist them.
They do.
Just monstrosities are what your original point was.
I feel like it's a little delayed.
Mash them, stick them in the stew. That's what they do. The rumors.
Hashtag share the load.
I mean, I feel like even coming from, like you said, Ben Affleck. I mean, you take it with a grain of salt at this point, but I mean, he did seem sincere with what he said. But I mean, I feel like, you know, just put out a solid fact, like, no, this is what's happening. Just disregard the rumors that you've been, like, sleep depriving over for the past who knows how long. I mean,
and you can only hope to take him at his word. As people, we have to give him inch and be like, well, we hope he's telling us the truth, you know? And even to me, that's the thing. If this was the plan, I feel like they just... With Flashpoint and the Justice League trailer, and we'll get into the movies they announced as well officially, like... I don't think they even needed... He didn't need to talk about it. I think fans would have still been pumped. They would have talked about it after, like, oh, he didn't say anything, but I don't think they would have been like, hey, what's going on with the Batman? Like, in the crowd. Like, I think they were pretty excited about what's happening. So the fact that he took a moment to say, hey, listen, this is what's happening. So I tend to agree that I think we should, as people, give it a little inch, and then, like I said, if it happens, then, well, fuck us, and I'm never gonna believe anybody ever again, we're making Avengers 4, you liar, you're not happening.
As for, Matt Reeves taking over, like, with Batman, I think that's amazing. Like, I'm so excited for that, because, like, as you guys said, like, with Planet of the Apes, like, he is so good at taking that score with the scenes and combining it into one, and you get such an intense feeling and connection with the characters on screen. And I feel like, with the Nolan trilogy, the music was such a huge part of that and what Batman was going through and everything. So I feel like that's something that needs to be carried forward. And I think Matt Reeves can deliver that.
Yeah, and even add on that, you look at what he can do with, like, a fucking, like, man-ape, Yeah. And, like, to me, it's like...
A CGI.
That's what gets me the most excited. Yeah, CGI, mocap character. That, like, obviously a lot of work from Andy Serkis as well.
Of course,
but, like, I'm not worried about Ben Affleck in the acting department, so... With a director like that, if you can tell this great story with Caesar, like I said, I've not seen War, but even just in Dawn and a little bit of Rise, like this great story of this character, and you can tell with each movie Caesar develops as it goes along, and the rumor is he wants to make a Batman trilogy, not a Batman movie, which makes sense. He just finished an Apes trilogy, so that would make a lot of sense. So to me, him getting his hands on Batman for 1 to 3 films, his grubby little mitts, like that gets
grubby little mitts. Okay.
That gets me excited to see. Oh, I saw what he can do with Caesar. What could he do with someone like an iconic character like Batman, right? Yeah. And you need that. You can't just have kind of like, and that was maybe my problem with BVS. Sometimes it felt a little shallow. I felt acting wise good, but writing was like left a little be desired. I don't think Matt Reeves will leave that. I think he'll answer all those questions. So. Anything else to say on the Ben Affleck whatever route?
Let's move along.
Yeah, I hope you stick. We're pulling for you.
We hope you stick, Ben.
Where the fuck? I had and I had reset
the list
the
of the movies.
Give me 1 second. Anyone want to say? You know what? Quickly talk about the Lego Ninjago, because I honestly have nothing to add. I thought the trailer was very meh. I thought the first one was better. This one looks to be like the weakest out of Lego movies, and that's about it. So if you guys have anything, I will like quickly find these.
Well, I think Taylor has the biggest point, so I'll just go quickly as well. Yeah, I thought the trailer was okay. It had some funny moments, some things I laughed at, and obviously, Lego was like my favorite toy when I was younger, so there is some nostalgic feeling there, but this Ninjago like characters and stuff, I don't really have any attachment to them.
And I didn't even like them as kids. Like they had Ninjago toys, and
I never played or had any of those either. So yeah, it looked okay. I don't think I'll see. Well, I definitely won't see it in theaters, but maybe I'll check it out on Netflix. The Lego movie was really good, and then Lego Batman I thought was amazing. So if this is the same, at least some of the same people, working behind the scenes there, then it has the potential to be a pretty good movie. I don't feel emotionally attached to this one like I did with the other Lego movies, I guess.
Yeah.
You said that Ninjago when like back in the day. Is
I don't think they said
that.
But they had Ninja Lego.
It was new. It's newer though, isn't it?
I'll look. Yeah. I guess it's newer, but I swear they were still around when I was a kid.
That's what I was gonna say. Like I remember being I was Lego club and I had but most of them, like, there's so many good ones. Lego City, everything. And so, like, when the Lego movie's out, phenomenal. Lego Batman just kept the wheel rolling. I think it was fantastic. And for me, Ninjago, it's definitely, I'm pretty confident that it's a new kind of, like, Lego universe that they've added, like, to Lego stores and everything now. And so, I don't know a lot about it.
Never mind, 2010.
2010, okay, yeah. So it's fairly new.
You weren't playing with Lego 7 years ago?
Not in the public.
Taylor's like,
I go home. I got my Lego sets set up all around my place.
Hell yeah.
But with this, like, I don't have any of that connection with Lego Ninjago or anything. But watching it, I feel like it's not just the Lego Ninjago universe. Like with Batman, it was everything like beyond like Matrix, Harry Potter. Yeah. I mean, it was everything. And so with this, I'm wondering, okay, how are they going to incorporate more Lego worlds into this movie? And even just seeing it just made me think, like, okay, this is great. Like, it's got humor, and it just has that Lego feeling that's just, like, large scale again. And the fact, like, I was okay with it not being in the trailer, but when they dropped, like, the cat, I thought that was really cool to see, like, real world, like, come into, like, Lego, like, with the original Lego movie and, like, the super glue Craigle and stuff. But, I mean, just to have a cat running around is pretty funny. But that's something that I wouldn't mind having kept a surprise to the film. But I feel like, I feel like it's gonna be a great movie.
I just think about how you mentioned a couple things from the Justice League trailer you would have liked to wait and see for the movie, and you like that relative to that's like the same thing. It's just like this cat in a movie is the same as like a surprise.
I take your Justice League breakdown with a grain of salt now.
Yeah.
Well, later in Joggle, maybe Taylor will be reviewing it. I don't think me and Dylan will be there, but you never know. Maybe they'll do a Power Rangers giveaway free movie tickets, and then we'll go. That was great. But, yeah, so we had heard about some of these, so this was just the official. We have not seen them yet. They've not posted the photo, but at one point on the screen they flashed all these with logos by them. So
cool.
Flashpoint was the main one they did. Suicide Squad 2, which we knew, but it's officially this is how it was presented. These are the next DC movies. I don't know if this is the order they come in or what their plans. So it was Flashpoint, Suicide Squad 2, the Batman, Justice League Dark, which is kind of like a spin-off. It's like a supernatural Dark Justice League team. Cool. Maybe, hopefully not like Suicide Squad.
I like that.
And then the Green Lantern Corps. So that would be... And they didn't talk about that, but at least they talked about the movie. So
actually Green Lantern crops.
Yeah, I know.
He's a farmer.
Or the corpse. Oh, they spelled that wrong, actually. That's why, yeah.
So where is Joker versus Harley Quinn?
Oh, snap!
Well, luckily it was, not confirmed here. So, also, we knew a bit about those, but how you guys feel about anything of those, being officially confirmed?
I don't know what Justice League Dark is, but from that quick 5-second description you gave it, I think that's pretty cool, and I'd like to see how they take that and combine it with the current universe they have.
There's a character called Swamp Thing, and he's just like a human.
Yeah. Swamp Thing's badass.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Did you mention Gotham City Sirens in those?
No, they did not say that. These were the ones that they threw up on the screen. So I'm surprised that is not happening sooner. So I wonder if it's Squad 2 and then that. Mm-hmm. And hopefully this Harley Quinn Joker movie is not a real thing, so we don't gotta worry about that. But honestly, I'd much rather take the Gotham City Sirens because one, you could start over fresh. It doesn't have a sequel that was bombarded by bad critics. And two, not only would you bring Margot Robbie back, you're going to have this threesome of powerful female characters, which is great with Wonder Woman right now. That's a huge thing. And my last point is Poison Ivy and Catwoman are really iconic. Yeah. And I just feel I think they're kind of missing the boat doing Squad 2 before this, and I wonder if it's hey, we want Will Smith to be back kind of thing, right?
Yeah, they definitely
that face. Yeah.
They definitely want Deadshot back.
Yeah, so that's why I feel like this got
the rest of them are so lame, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm much more intrigued by Gotham City Sirens. So this makes me a little worried that if they're talking about all these movies and it wasn't even in this, hey, these are next, I think it's a little ways away. I'd say maybe this is movies that we're getting from now to 2020. I'm thinking Sirens is a 2021, 2022, and I'm a little disappointed by that. So,
are we still getting Nightwing, or is that?
It wasn't on here though. These are just the movies they threw up on the panel. So they said these are the movies that are next.
So
these are announced
further down the line, probably.
So so that's what I mean. Who knows with DC?
They might have some surprises.
And plus it might not go in this order. We were supposed to get Batman next year, and so stuff happens. So and Green Lantern Corps, I want Green Lantern already. We need to get over the Ryan Reynolds one. I know it was bad, but we need a new Green Lantern. Hal Jordan's one of my favorite characters. I hope we get it.
I never saw that movie, so it'll be my first Green Lantern.
Oh, we should do watch it. It is. Maybe wait to see. It's fucking. It's Squad level. It's worse than Squad.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Can't wait. The rest of those, I think we knew about them all. So nothing too surprising. Even Green Lantern, I guess they never announced that, but
it did say about two. See, these ones had logos, I guess, but it said Wonder Woman 2 and Batgirl were mentioned as well. Which to me, those make sense. Wonder Woman 2, I think, completely makes sense. We'll get that quick. And Batgirl. That was the one Joss Whedon's working on. I think that one's just on hold because they're going to let him finish League first, all's work on there, and then jump over to Batgirl. Yeah. So I think that's why they were kind of Batgirl's coming, but we don't really know however long this takes. So, speaking of jumping... Well, actually, no, let's say with the Warner Brothers panel. What am I talking about? Ready Player One, a very anticipated adaptation, very popular book. Steven Spielberg is directing it, one of the greatest directors of all time. Taylor, I'm going to start with you. What did you think about this debut Comic-Con trailer?
I didn't get excited at all.
Wow. You know what? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I thought, it's a VR movie, it looks like. I didn't know what was going on throughout the whole trailer. It didn't have anything that got me excited.
Really?
Not even the Iron Giant?
That was cool, but it didn't get me excited. I don't...
No.
Like why? Like it's taking everything that we already have seen before and throwing it into one universe in live action. Yeah, it's
okay. I thought you were gonna say everything we've seen before and just doing it again. I'm like, oh, was that Force Awakens?
I thought you would be into the trailer just because it was.
It seems like a Taylor.
The trailer was just a spectacle. It was just a bunch of like badass scenes with a shit ton of things going on. It's for me personally, it's really hard to know like whether or not this is gonna be a good movie. I've never experienced VR, so I really can't like. You really imagine what this movie is going to be like, and obviously the entire point of it is that it's a VR movie, and there's probably not going to be much else there. Like, yeah, like you said, like story-wise, I don't know if there is even a story or if it's just going to be people.
Well, I hope there's a story. I think there's going to be some story.
If the story is just like,
it's a part of
this cool
book.
character did a cool thing, and then they do that 100 times. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's really hard for me to say without having like experienced VR. I'm sure it will be like quite a spectacle to be in that situation, though.
Yeah, and the preference is none of us have read the book, so unfortunately Jessica's not here because she's read the book and she really likes the book. All I can speak of story, I don't know, but this is like a teaser sort of trailer, so that makes sense. They're not going to spell it all out. It looks like it's this adventure and it's this world. All I can say is one, the nostalgia looked really good. Like just like seeing Iron Giant pop up, that was just like that was really fun for me. 2, it's Steven Spielberg. Never doubted him. He can make a great movie in his sleep. 3, like I said,
He's probably had some crazy dreams.
Oh yeah, this is one of them. 3, I don't know much about the story, so all I can go off what I saw, and I thought visually really cool. Like just stuff when he was entering the world or putting this stuff on, I thought it was really cool. The only part where it lost me was kind of the car part. I didn't really like that when you said the Fast Furious on cocaine. Like if that's the whole movie, I'm kind of disappointed because it looked like there was gunfighting and swords. Like I'm like, oh, I'm more into that. The car racing, I'm like, I'm not a big car
pretty high level Hot Wheels commercial, that's about it.
Yeah, but I think like visually it was stunning, and it didn't get me to be like, man, I can't fucking wait to see Ready Player One. But it got me intrigued to be like, I want to see more trailers, and if those trailers continue to be good, I'll go out and see it because obviously it got a Comic-Con panel, so it was huge. You know, they had a part of the Warner Brothers thing, and Spielberg, like I said, when his name's on something, I'm going to want to see it. So I'm very excited. And I'll be excited to ask Jessica what she thinks next time I see her because as the book reader, she can be like, oh, that's exactly what I pictured. Or is it like, hey, you know, why does Jared Leto have so many tattoos over his body, you know? Like me.
And she's usually pretty particular about that.
Yeah, so, yeah. Nothing else on Ready Player One?
No.
I think this will...
I'm ready for the next segment.
Our last...
I didn't even realize. Go on.
No, I don't. What was it? What was the joke?
I'm ready for the next.
Oh, touche. I wanted to make sure.
Hey, I got 2 claps. That's one you got.
Taylor deserves no claps. He deserves -2. I think this will be our last news story until later on tonight.
He took those claps from you, your life experience, and gave them to me.
Later on tonight, we will be back covering the Marvel panel. I
yeah.
think there's going to be a Stranger Things trailer. Please, God, drop the fucking Infinity War trailer, and
Please,
my
God.
day will be amazing. But to talk a little bit about Marvel, me and Dylan did a podcast last night for the Netflix Marvel panel. Did not drop this. The second Dylan left about, not a second, that's a lie, but like half an hour later, they dropped the Defenders trailer. So we're going to cover it right now. Taylor, I'll start with you because you're less experienced. We talked about this a little bit earlier this week, but I'd say this is the final Defenders trailer. So what did you think about this as someone that has seen a few episodes here and there of each of these shows? The mainstream.
I really liked it, and this trailer got me a lot more pumped up than the Stan Lee one, I feel like.
I feel like because this came out, there's a part of me, I still think that was just a foreign trailer, and then when it came out, I think they changed to make
that
American.
was way too not Western. Like, that made no sense.
Because Punisher, spoilers, was not in this trailer at all. Yeah. So that makes me think that I was like, fuck, why did you guys let the European trailer, like whatever there was, a foreign trailer, like why did you let them show Punisher? Like, that's kind of annoying.
I was waiting to see Punisher. Like, when they dropped, like, Elektra and stuff, I'm like, okay, this is, like, really cool. Like, when's Punisher gonna drop? And that's the first thing, like, oh, he was in the other trailer, but not this one. So that's kind of weird, but I think, you know, it was great. I love the music that was in the background, and just, it was very, more Sigourney Weaver. She's always good, so it was cool to kind of see little bits of familiarity from what I've seen in the other shows coming together.
As for myself, I don't think it was an amazing trailer, but I liked it all the same because it kind of just, you know, reminds me that this is like right around the corner. Like, this is so close. For me, what I liked about it is, I guess, like showing off some characters from the like each respective show. Like, we saw Jessica Jones' friend. I can't remember her name.
Trisha.
We saw from Iron Fist. We saw Colleen and Bakura. What was the name again? Her sensei.
I always remember when the
Starts with a B.
Bakaru, no.
Bakaru.
No.
Bakaru.
Bakudo. I did it!
Nice.
Go look at Iron Fist review. I could not say his name the whole time.
Well done.
Yes.
Yes. So we saw Bakudo, and then from Daredevil we got to see
Foggy and
Karen, and then did we see anyone from Luke Cage?
Claire. Like I know she's all of them, but Claire.
But we didn't.
I thought we saw Misty.
I thought there was like one scene, and I couldn't pick out if I saw anyone there.
But Misty is in it. They've said so. She'll be there.
So yeah, obviously, like I had a feeling that most of these characters would at least make an appearance, but it's nice to see them because most of those characters weren't in the other trailers.
Yeah.
So I liked seeing them. I really liked Elektra in Daredevil Season 2. It seems like that's like a 50-50 thing on people who liked or didn't like her. So
I'll say 64. I think there's more in the major camp of like.
Okay.
Her.
Well,
if you don't like Elektra, something's wrong with you.
I'm in the 60. I liked her. So.
How do you feel?
It seems like she has a fairly big role in this as well.
We knew this we could just guess it, but like they really confirmed that she has like amnesia now, right? And she doesn't know who Matt is, so like that's confirmed. So I think that's a smart classic.
The shots of her, like the one where she's like on the roof, and
there's one of her fighting Iron Fist.
Yeah, it looks really badass, and I love Sigourney Weaver, so I think her as like the big mob boss, as the one behind it all. And she
has a scene with Madame Gao.
She has a scene with Madame Gao, which I can't wait to see those interactions. Yeah, you know, the more we talk about this, I actually really like this trailer. I didn't love the music choice, but I honestly like the humor. Even I didn't love it. I thought it was okay, but I still really love this trailer just because I've invested so much time now into these characters and into these people that I'm just so ready to watch this.
I'll cut in exactly where you said the humor. That was my biggest call with this trailer because I think the biggest positive was you're talking about with all the characters. I think this was the best trailer to show all these worlds are colliding. You're not only getting the heroes, but you're getting their sidekicks, their friends, their villains, everything like that. I think that it was a great trailer showing the scope of this thing and that it is finally here. I did not like the music and I did not like the jokes. Not from the sense of I thought they were funny. This trailer, to me, couldn't decide if it wanted to be an action-heavy trailer or a character trailer. And I wish they would have picked, because when Jessica Jones, when they do that thing when he's like, oh, it's not a fist, it's chi, and she's like, that's not chi, they're making these jokes, and I think in the actual show, everything I saw, I think in the show will be good, but I think some of the stuff in the trailer made it look not good because they're playing heavy like action music over them telling jokes, and that's what I think was the disconnect. I think it was in that moment when she's talking to Iron Fist in the show, it's gonna be silent, it's gonna be like you could laugh, but when it's like dun-dun-dun, and she's like, that's not she, dun-dun-dun, it's like that's a weird kind of placement, you know. And I felt that they do a classic Avengers where they're all back to back at one moment, and I think that because it's a big crossover, they maybe tried too much to make this be like really action heavy. Daredevil has great action scenes, like Netflix has some good action. Daredevil has some of the best action on TV. But what is strong about the Netflix shows is the characters.
Yeah, and character driven for sure.
I think they could have had I think this trailer was probably 3 minutes. I think they could have the end clip of them fighting people, but I don't think they need to show that elevator scene again. I think less fighting, because the moment when Jessica is like clearly hungover, she's walking through the elevator and the elevator like closed on her, she's like, God damn it, like that's the stuff you want to see, and them talking. So I liked the very first trailer, not the teaser, the trailer much more, because it had some jokes and it was really quick. So I like this trailer, but I think I definitely didn't like it as the previous ones, and I think I like what's in it. I don't like how exactly it was laid out necessarily. And yeah, Sigourney Weaver, I think she's going to do great. I think the show's actually going to be great, but for some reason it didn't bring my hype down. But I was actually disappointed in this trailer, to be honest.
The trailers haven't been good.
I think that very, very first one, the very first one of when Jessica Jones is in the prison cell and Matt busts in, he's like, stop talking right now, like I'm your lawyer, Matt.
That was a good moment, yeah.
Because it was only like, I think, 1:20 though. It like showed them all meeting, and then that last scene, them fighting in the elevator. So I think that's to its benefit to being shorter. So yeah, I hope with us being disappointed with the trailers is not going to be what happens in the series. You know, I hope it's not like, oh yeah, those were just the trailers. But I think it's going to be good.
Maybe they're just like kind of handpicking things from like the first couple episodes and trying to leave out some of that stuff. I don't know if that's what they're doing, but that would be nice. Yeah, the other note I want to throw on you is at some point you see them fighting each other. Do you think that's a magical, they're under sort of spells, or do you think there's an actual like conflict there? Because that's what I mean. I saw that and I really like that, because anytime superheroes are fighting each other,
it's a good time. So like when you see like Matt and Luke Cage like going at it, you're like, oof, that's cool. And you see Jessica Jones and Matt like staring each other down like about to fight. It's like, that's cool. So,
yeah, I don't know. It could be,
or a misunderstanding.
there's honestly like there is like some, spiritual stuff going on in these shows, and I feel like mind control is something that could happen. It has happened in the past, I guess, from a character who I'm not going to say anything else. But it also could just be, obviously you were saying earlier, it's very character driven. Like all these shows are character driven, so it could be something too, in that regard, or it could just be them. It could be a scene that they just put in the trailer, or it could just be something
them
like
training,
and they put in the trailer to make it look like that.
They could because like someone like Jones is not the best fighter, right? So it would make sense for maybe like a Daredevil or a trainer or something like that.
I didn't feel like I was spoiled though. Like I don't know. I got to sit and watch through and see why exactly they're fighting. One thing I was going to ask you, Travis, what do you think of Daredevil being in a full suit and none of the other ones? Does it look kind of weird? It seemed. It definitely was noticeable for me.
I think I'll decide on the show because people brought that up and that hasn't hit me yet for some reason. But it is a little disappointing that Iron Fist is kind of just wearing some clothes or like he'll wear a suit. Luke Cage
looks badass, but
yeah,
his Iron Fist suit is much more badass.
Oh yeah, and Luke Cage is wearing his hoodie, so I think that could hurt me more when I'm watching and I see the action scenes all together because you see Daredevil is like, oh, he looks so complete and so good. And there's that scene, and this is what I'll throw too with comedy, why I think it will work in the actual show. The very last thing in the trailer, there was no music, and it was that thing where Daredevil said like, oh, I'm so glad we're together, and Cage is like, we're not gonna hug, are we? Like, that I actually liked, and there was no music. Like, that's where it's like, I laughed at that, so I like that, and that scene with Jessica Jones when she's drinking the beer on the train too. So I hope Defender Season 2, they're a bit more costumey, but they are kind of playing that up, right? Of like, they're the Netflix heroes, they don't do that. Like, they're not as flashy, they're more grunge and whatnot. So, I'm fine with Jessica and Luke Cage. Iron Fist next season really badly needs his costume. Whether it's the white one, the yellow one, the green one, he needs the
Give me the green one.
Yeah, the green one for sure. Taylor, you have anything to add on any of this? We threw out a lot of news there.
No, I'm excited to give it a watch through.
So you are watching it, even though you've seen none of the other ones. Wow.
Yeah, I agree with you on the costumes, though. That's something that definitely stood out, where they're all just wearing random clothes, and Daredevil was so, like, complete with his outfit and everything.
If you join us for the review, you better be careful, because we're going to spoil a lot of things about every other show.
We'll
you busy that day?
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
And I'm still shipping Matt and Jessica. I want it to happen, even though it's definitely not going to happen, because there's that shot of, like, Daredevil, like, holding Elektra's face, like, trying to get her to remember. So, clearly that's going to be a big thing, and that's fine, because I'm going to ship Elektra and Daredevil way more than everyone else. Great couple, great relationship, great season. This is our last one. I completely forgot before we go. Taylor, you won't have anything to add to this. Last night, Dylan and I, we were talking about Iron Fist 2, and we were talking about if there'd be a new showrunner. Announced today that there's a new showrunner. How do you feel about that?
Well, if you go back to our yesterday's podcast, I think I got to reiterate what I said in case you don't want to go back, but
you should.
I think Iron Fist as a show, while it did have some problems, and some of those are with acting, some of those are with writing, I think it set the foundation for. Obviously, this is all a connected world, but it individually set a good base point. Like, I like the storylines with the Meachums, and I like the stuff with the Iron Fist, and, like, backstory of getting his powers and things like that. So I think if you take all that and you combine it with, what's the actor's name again?
Finn Jones.
Finn Jones. You combine that with Finn Jones warming up to the character. Now he's done the season on his own. He's done the season of Defenders. You combine that with maybe like better or different writing team and better choreography for the fights. I think new showrunners could mean that Iron Fist season 2 could be like the best season we get out of these Netflix shows.
Yeah, no,
I think that's huge.
I think it's a good thing because I said this in our on our Twitter. I said this coming from someone that still likes Iron Fist.
Yeah,
I think this was the right move because I still think it's the weakest side of the shows for me from like a story standpoint. The guy that's doing it, he did like Sleepy Hollow last year, like that TV show, so that went on for a while. I have not seen much of his work. I did not see Sleepy Hollow. Back in the day, he wrote the Elektra movie, which is god-awful. It's really bad, and that's my worry. I hope he's learned from that. That was 2005. It was the first thing he ever wrote, so I'll give him a pass, but this is not in the sense of hey, when Daredevil Season 2 showrunners took over for the first one, I was like, oh, these guys have a good resume. I can trust these guys. This is hey, I don't think it can get worse than Season 1. I guess it could. But, like, I'm optimistic about it. But I'm excited because I think a change was needed. I think because I'll never forgive this man for making Dexter a lumberjack, so I don't really want Iron Fist to be in the hands of him. He already hurt one of my other favorite characters of all time. So, for me, I'm excited, but I'm still... It's kind of like the Ben Affleck thing. I have an asterisk of, like, okay, it might be better than this guy, but is it going to be... I was hoping for someone really better, like someone we knew, like a name where they've done this show we like, this show we like, so we'll see.
I didn't actually know who was the new show.
Yeah, I think he's like a... Who knows? This could be his jumping off point, right?
Well, I mean, we'll see. Like, obviously the first season of Iron Fist sort of had to get through a lot of the origin story stuff, and that maybe wasn't done so well, but now they can kind of skip onto that and just maybe hop into like a new really cool villain, or jump back and use some older villains and really just develop the characters now that they already have a base to jump off of, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was our podcast. Covered a lot of news there. DC, kicking ass day. Taylor, where can they find us for later on tonight? We will be back. Marvel panel, the last news coverage of Comic-Con. We have other ones, but our last news coverage GeekVerse podcast this weekend.
Well, you guys got to tune in later for sure. You can find us with your internet connection. You can go into Google, preferably just go right into the search bar and type in your Facebook. And then when you're on your Facebook, in that search bar, type in GeekVerse Space Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Because, as Travis said, we're back later, and we're just dishing out all the awesome shit for this weekend because it's Comic-Fucking-Con.
Comic-Fucking-Con.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm very excited for later on tonight. This happened to me last year where Wonder Woman trailer came out. I was very excited. Marvel kind of let me down. So I'm really hoping to get an Infinity War trailer. If we do, we'll be live immediately after the Marvel panel ends on YouTube. So subscribe there. If you want to catch us later the next day, subscribe to all our podcast services.
Do you think they feel threatened by the Justice League trailer? Do you think that's going to provoke them to put out the Infinity War trailer?
If they were sitting on it, they were going to drop it. Probably.
Yeah, I don't think they're threatened by them yet. I think a couple more years, give it to them, because Wonder Woman's doing really well. If Justice League does really well, I think it's not a threat, but I think they'll step up their game and be like, yeah, okay, we gotta combat. So yeah, and you can check out all our other content. Like I said, me and Dylan did one last night. There's a bunch of other newscasts we did for all the Comic-Con news. There's GeekVerse Gauntlet stuff. We got a huge match. I'm promoting this big July 30th, a ladder match. 7 competitors. It's lots of fun. Crowning a new #1 contender. What else is out there? Netflix and
We did a Dunkirk review last week. We did War of the Planet of the Apes the week before. We did Spider-Man when that came out. So a lot of big movies we've been talking about.
Yeah. And you know what also we didn't get for DC? Because I thought to promote my solo show Superhero News Roundup, no Aquaman footage released to the public.
True.
Yeah. Surprise.
And
they showed
next year.
They showed it. It's in December, so I guess they have time. Do they? Oh, I guess they have a whole nother Comic-Con, I guess. So they're fine. They're fine. But I still thought...
Maybe a better movie.
They showed some to the crowd, and apparently the crowd loved it. They said it felt like Star Wars, but under the sea. So I'm hoping that's not like, prequel Gungan. I'm hoping that's not like prequel, like Gungan sort of Star Wars, but...
Ooh.
Anyways, catch us later tonight. I promise you it'll not be boring.
GeekVerse out!